series. We got 2 more to go. The next one we're going to talk about here is going to be bunch adjustment. The bunch adjustment when you are playing quarters and you are in match. We're going to talk about bunch. We all know what bunch routes are, nothing crazy. 3 guys. How we describe it is 3 guys basically within 5 yards of each other. That's a pretty general term, pretty easy to see. And in this case, we're going to call what we would say on defense a box adjustment, which, again, the lingo is important because when you're talking about stuff during a game or you're trying to make adjustments, you're going to quickly say box, and everybody, those 4 players that I just put into a box right here should know what to do. All right, so the upper part of the box is the corner. He has the first vertical to the outside. All right, now the safety here, he's going to have any vertical that comes to him, aka the first vertical to the inside. And again, a vertical route is any route that's over 10 yards and works down the field. So it could turn into a corner, it could turn into a post. They will match those type of routes. Then you have the nickel. The nickel here, he is going to play first to the flat. So out of any of these guys that come out of the bunch, he's going to go to the flat. He's going to take him. He's going to take the first one to the flat. Excuse me. So there isn't a 2 to 3 read or 1 to 2 read. That's not what's happening here. It's basically out of any of those guys, take the first one. And then here with the linebacker, all right, so this is your middle linebacker in base defense. This is your sub linebacker number 1 in sub defense. Whoever you put here could be a safety. He's going to take the first inside short route. So it could be, like in this case, a spot route. It could be a shallow cross. It could be a dig. All right, so that's his responsibility. So let's just talk through this, and I'll go to the back side as we go through it. But I'm just going to focus on the front side right now. All right, so on offense, this is a base. Oops, I'm still sitting on the defensive guy. Let me start that one over. This is an easy concept. In the digit system, it's called 4-7-3. It's just a corner route with a flat route and what they would say is a spot route, which is the receiver working in that little area right there trying to find an open spot. But the good thing about this coverage, the positives, right, from a defensive point of view, is that you're going to get really good double teams versus any route that goes deep down the field. Okay, hold on, let me make sure this is recording. It is. Okay. Deep down the field, you're going to get any good double team. You're most likely, if one route goes down the field, you're going to get a nice little 2-on-1 with your corner and with your safety. So if you have a good player and they're running a lot of corner routes by himself, you're going to get 2 good players leveraging this route inside and outside, and that's probably going to take away the route. First to the flat rule, that's fine. You get a guy who's going to match somebody quickly. So sometimes teams like to just throw something quick to the flat right now. He's going to play it better than a curl flat would. Like, let's say if you were playing stock cover 3. All right. And then what I'll look at here is the linebacker, right? So I would user this guy. All right. But if you don't, it's fine. But in this case, you want to sit right on the inside shoulder of any route that's coming inside. If he's coming with speed and he's looking like he's crossing the field like on a slant, then you have to stay with him. But it's smart to try to stay right on his shoulder, try to hug his shoulder, similar to 3-by-1 when you want to sit on the inside shoulder of number 3 in case he runs a stick route. Because teams will do stuff like, and there are plays already in the game where they'll take number 1 and they'll zig him, right? Or they'll run around. And it doesn't happen too often now, but they're playmaker him, something like that. So when they run this route, if this guy works out, you have to go get that. All right. And there'll be some other combinations that'll come up later on that we'll talk about where it's better to stay close to that guy. Now, quickly, the backside safety here. Okay, he is looking for the same thing as he did in 3-by-1. He's looking for a vertical to come out of that bunch. If they get 3 verticals down the field, he will help out. Now, you hardly ever get that out of bunch. And I know right away people will say, well, what about the play verticals, right? Like you see on the screen on the bottom right hand side, Bills verticals. We'll get to that in a second. The backside guys are the same. Nothing's changed as it was in regular 3-by-1. You got a Meg corner, man everywhere he goes. He's going to stay on that guy, right? Doesn't matter what route he runs. And then you have a linebacker here, the weak side linebacker, who is going to be matching any route that the running back runs, okay? That number 2 weak runs. And if you want to man him up, I would do that just to make sure the technique's a little bit better. So you could just straight man him up, okay? Now, let me look at the same route, spot, and something that can happen is this. So when teams run bunch routes or bunch formations, usually it's in that pattern in the NFL and base football, like I just said. You're going to get one guy going deep, one guy going to the flat, and somebody's going to be running something over the middle, right? Somewhere in that low area. Now, some teams will line up in bunch and try to run traditional, what I would say traditional 3x1 or 2x1 routes, which is a flood combination here. So they will audible. People will do this all the time to try to get that corner route to open up, thinking that the corner is going to run and go with them. Now, if you are in just regular zone drop defense, not match defense, this will be wide open, okay? However, this is the advantage of playing this type of style of defense, because this corner and this safety are going to play these two verticals. And when they switch down the field, he's going to fall off to the corner. That's the guy that goes outside, and he's going to stay right down the middle and play the deep guy going down the middle, all right? And that's the advantage of playing quarters coverage and getting that box check that, you don't usually get if you don't play quarters match, all right? The pressure came there, but you can see how the corner came off and played that corner route. So as they went down the field, when they switched their routes down the field past 10 yards, those two DBs will just stay in their zone, right? Similar to how it would be if it was, not similar, I apologize. They basically will match their guys deep down the field, where if it was a true zone drop, there's a chance that number 1 would pull that corner back and he would just stay running with number 14, and now the corner route would be open. So that's just a good thing that comes with playing box coverage, and is one of the advantages, I think, why you want to do it, why you want to call it. Now, let me go into the good old Bills vertical play down here, which is just verticals most of the time. And when you see the routes here, you would say, hey, that looks like 3 guys going deep, right? Let me play the route out. Is it really 3 guys going deep? Is it really 3 guys going deep? I'm not quite sure. Why? Because let's see this. What is the nickel looking at, right? What is he trying to read? First to the flat. Is there a flat route to start right now? Yes, there is, right? Number 1 is running to the flat. So he's going to match that. And then the golden rule is, in match coverage, once you buy it, you take it, okay? Once you buy a guy, once you grab him and he's your guy in match, you run with him wherever he goes, even if he runs a double move. And this is a sort of like double move, but this is always a base rule in flat coverage. Any flat defender in match coverage has to do this, okay? All right, now, the safety back there, I can't highlight him, but the strong safety, he's reading first vertical to the inside. There goes number 11, right? He's gonna see that, and he's gonna run with him. And then now the corner technically doesn't have anybody deep coming at him to start until that tight end works up the field and gets towards him. Now, I'll talk a little bit about technique of the tight end, but a lot of times when you get vertical route concepts, everybody has to get to their spacing on the field. And in this case, when you have a 3x1, the number 2 receiver in the route distribution, the guy who becomes number 2, he is going to get to about maybe 3 to 4 yards inside the numbers. That's where he needs to get to. So he'll take 3 steps and work up the field. But as you see, there's a nice little open area right there to kind of throw a ball in there unrealistically, kind of sort of in the Madden world. A lot of people take advantage of that if nobody plays it. So that's what I was saying. You should probably play with that middle linebacker, and you can now work your way because you don't have any threats from that right side, right? You don't worry about the left side. That's a different world. On the right side, you don't have to worry about, there's nothing coming underneath. So you can now, like I told you before, ride off of number 11's hip, because if he runs a dig, you got to stay with him. And as soon as he keeps on going vertical, that safety will grab him, and now you can get into this nice little window and try to maybe even get a pick. All right, so that's something that I would recommend if you get a lot of this vertical play. All right. Now, let's talk about one last thing. There are formations in the game, all right, that are not traditional 3x1 sets. They are 2x1, which means that there's 2 receivers on one side, 1 receiver on the backside, 2 backs in the backfield, right? So this is an example of one. Now in this play, right, I should have probably chose a different one to start. Let's just choose this one. So you're going to get that bunch-like look. So that's what we would call it. Not calling it a true bunch formation, but as a bunch-like. It looks like bunch, so treat it the same. So you're going to get that same box check to the right of the screen with those 4 players that we had talked about. All right. And you can see there a little bit of an issue, which has always been an issue when it comes to playing box, is how good is your safety, and is he going to be able to play the dig route, right? So in this case, again, if you're the linebacker, you should be pushing out, like I said, with width. And when this guy runs in, even though he's over 10 yards, you can just kind of stay underneath it, right? And he kind of does do that, right? That's a pretty good job. So if he breaks out, I would push out. If he breaks in, I would stay underneath it. But that safety, as you see, he should be taking him with better technique. And I'm not sure what that safety's man rating is right now. I know he's a young guy, if I'm not mistaken. So he may not have good man ratings. But in general, I wanted to just show how they will play this type of formation, and they will use the same check. All right, they will use the exact same check as you see and as it works out. Now, the first play I drew up or had up here was another flood combination, but you have a switch. And this is a little bit of a tender area right here. I can see people trying to throw that C route in there, right? Because the way he kind of switches with the other receiver, it delays the process for the corner and the safety to understand, hey, we got to switch. And so now you might get a little bit of a delay when it comes to the corner coming off. Now Ward's a good corner. He's going to obviously, with his good man rating, he's going to come off and play this well. But this is where, if you're playing with that middle linebacker, you can now really kind of push out a little bit and try to make that throw not be a bullet pass, and that will help out. So that's just a little tip there. Let me go back to one last thing I didn't cover back with the traditional bunch. I apologize. Let's just go back to the vertical play and take a look at how the safety who's coming over will cover a traditional 3 deep route. Now, this is not a realistic route. If I could put Pickens on a corner, that'd probably be realistic. But you can see people audibling, right, and doing stuff like this. If they have route apprentice or whatever, they'll probably, put Pickens on a C route or something. But watch this now. If I can get some time in the pocket here, right? You see how the backside safety came over and took number 3, who became he became number 2, but it was the 3rd vertical that went down the field. Watch it on replay here. Right, so the strong safety is going to see number 11, right? That's again, he's reading it as whoever comes to me first, I'm grabbing. So he's taking 11 because why? He's in front. The corner is going to take 14 on the outside, and this safety now is looking to hunt up any extra verticals, and he's going to come over here and take the tight end, right? Number 88. So it does work well. However, there are plays in the game that I won't show just from the sake of not trying to put cheese out there, that kind of gets 3 verticals down the field, and it will kind of bug out the safety. The strong safety will not cover he will cover one guy, or he will cover nobody, and then also the backside safety will come over and not know what to do. And there's a few of them out there. People probably know them from last year, and one play shouldn't make you say that the coverage is broken, but they kind of do have some tells. They come out of certain formational looks, and people might even have to audible a certain way. So if you know you're getting that, my first piece of advice is to just go into, I'm not going to show the play here, but I'm going to go on defense. Just go into your coverage adjustments, which is triangle on PlayStation, and just press sticks. Sticks puts your whole defense basically into a spot drop, with the underneath defenders going to the sticks. But the most important thing is that your deep guys are going to be playing just spot drop, and that should take care of, you might get 2 vertical guys going deep on a safety, but at least he's staying back and staying over the top. It's kind of like spot drop cover 4. All right. Now, also, you can also just turn it off, right? You could just, after the play is over, you could just turn off match, and then just basically it will turn back in the spot drop cover 4. So That's one way. I wouldn't necessarily suggest, and you can do this, but I don't like the idea of being unsound because I consider myself a sim player as best as I can be. I don't like the idea of really taking a quarter safety and maybe putting him into a different type of coverage unless it's man. I'm not into that. Some people live by that, but once you start going down that rabbit hole, other things will open up and other things will kind of possibly hurt you. I try to keep it as sound as possible as I do these things. Okay. One last formation. Again, I'm gonna give you another bunch-like formation. We won't go through the routes right now, but a bunch-like formation could be 2x2, right? So people will come out in a 2x2 set, like we kind of talked about the bench play last time we talked. And the right side of the screen, those three players are in a bunch-like formation. So the bunch players, the box players, I apologize, are going to be your weak side linebacker, because this is the weak side of the formation, because there's a tight end to that side. That's how they decide what's weak and what's not. And then this is going to be the underneath wall player, right? This is the guy that I would use there. So it's going to be these four players, even though they're kind of out of position, here, here, and here, are going to be in box to the right of the screen. On the left part of the screen, they're going to play what we talked about with the zone it, and we know there's an issue. We know there's a couple issues with this. I have an answer for this that's sound. Okay, I know, some people might do it different and just want to make a quick adjustment. I have a pretty sound adjustment. It will take only 2 steps. I'll save that for another time, another video, another space. I'm not going to give all that information out right now, but just I don't want to overload us. And then I think that's for another conversation, going into some of the adjustments that you can make that mimic real life. Okay, so the adjustments that I want to make to that side of the field against that stack look is going to be a real life adjustment. Okay, not just the Madden adjustment. So stick with me. Thanks for the patience. Long video as usual, but this is what quarters is, man. Quarters has a lot. There's a lot to go into it, and you have to be really married to the coverage and really believe in it and play a lot of it to get good at it, and it will benefit you a lot. And you have to be able to take some of the losses you're going to get with busted coverage against certain people who might know you're in match, especially quarters match. Okay, talk to you guys later, man. If you have any questions, hit it up in the comments. I'll talk to you later, man. Peace.